Hi there, Monarch Nation, and welcome to our special National Signing Day 2017 video presentation. I'm Ted Alexander, along with the head coach, Bobby Wilder. Coach, 10-3 a year ago, first ever trip to a bowl, first bowl win. Now you're reloading.
Now we are reloading, and as you and I were talking about before we started, Ted, what recruiting has essentially become now as we have moved up is the staff identifying the right players. And we're not necessarily looking for the best players, we're looking for the right players that fit what we're trying to do, our aim high philosophy, person, student, athlete, and then kids that'll fit into the schemes that we're running on special teams, defense and offense, and the coaches did a phenomenal job identifying this class.
We're talking about thousands of hours, years of work go into this, culminating in this day right here, and it's got to be nerve-wracking, special, exciting, all rolled into one.
It is. It's really exciting, Ted. I'm one of those head coaches that just feels like a 17 or 18-year-old young man, his family, how excited they are with this day. I always go back to that, having the experience with my own son and how parents and the players feel about this. You know, I've been doing it for 30 years, so each year it's cyclical. It's the same for me, but for them, it's their first experience, and it's such an amazing day. It's such a wonderful feeling, and this is an exciting time.
And the idea is to find ingredients toward that next piece of hardware. I see you're rocking the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl watch there, and you've got the conference championship ring from a couple of years ago. There's the goal.
It is, and this is set by our players each year, and the goal is to go back to a bowl game, and proudly wearing the Popeyes Bahama Bowl watch from the victory. Still exciting to think about it, and this is the championship ring, Ted, from 2012 when we won the conference championship, and the players' goals are they want to compete for and win the East this year in 2017 in Conference USA, because that means we're playing in the championship game, and they want to go back to a bowl game. That was a life-changing experience, and it's something we'd like to do again this year.
So let's get to it. The class of 2017, if you will, the new recruits for Old Dominion University football. We begin with Amari Kolber, a 6'3", 195-pound wide receiver out of Warner Robins, Georgia.
Such a high level of football that he played, Ted. And think about this. He caught 56 passes for 1,200 yards and 20 touchdowns as a senior, playing at the highest level in Georgia. What we really like about him, on top of all these numbers, you look at his size. He's 6'3", so you're thinking about Pascal, Duhart, Fulgham, those matchups and all the man coverage we see. Really good football player.
Esteban Feliciano, a 6'1", 220-pound linebacker out of Tampa, Florida.
What an impressive past couple of years he's put together, Ted. Another really good conference of football. Just an outstanding family. We met him this summer when they came up on the visit. Really good people. Ted, not only did he have big numbers his senior year, he played in the Florida East-West All-Star game. Good size, good speed.
Deronda Hall, a 5'10", 167-pound cornerback out of Atlanta, Georgia.
This is a three-way player, Ted, and what I mean by that, not only is he a very good corner, got really good numbers, he played on offense as well this year, scored 6 touchdowns, Ted, 4 different ways, 2 rushing, 1 receiving, 1 interception return, and by punt return as well. Very versatile player, which will help us in a lot of areas.
Marques Haynes is a 6'4", 220-pound defensive end out of Bowie, Maryland.
The 6'4", Ted, I really like. This is going to be a theme today as we're talking, the height, but had success on both sides of the ball. In high school, Ted, caught 43 passes and 12 touchdowns. At Fork Union, he played defense and had really good numbers at defensive end. Good versatility, good speed.
Jordan Hoy, a 6'1", 195-pound quarterback out of Rockwall, Texas.
What impressed me the most about Jordan, Ted, as we started to really evaluate him, is he's playing in the California Junior College League, which is exceptionally high level of football, leads his team to a championship and has 37 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. And he also ran 131 times for 712 yards and 9 touchdowns. And you know with us, Ted, we like quarterbacks that value the football. That's what Jordan has shown us.
From the 7'5'7", Ginez Jordan, a 6'4", 290-pound defensive tackle out of Bethel High School in Hampton.
6'4", so here we go with the height again as we're trying to climb to that level of the FBS where your guys are tall, they're bigger, they can fill out. He's already 6'4", 290, Ted. What impressed you the most about this guy? 92 carries for 500 yards and 13 touchdowns playing running back on offense, so that speaks to his level of athleticism.
Jeremy Miser is a 6'3", 285-pound defensive lineman out of Muller High School in Cincinnati.
6'3", 285, excellent speed and athleticism. Senior year was cut a little bit short due to an injury, Ted, but what impresses you the most about Jeremy when you watch the video is how quick he is off the football, and we've started to develop that in our defensive line here at Old Dominion.
Jack Miller, 6'7", 240 pounds, offensive lineman out of Richmond.
6'7", Ted, 6'7", and he is 6'7". That's what really got us excited when we first met Jack. The height, and then you see the athleticism. 240 pounds, he'll fill out. But when you start with that frame, Ted, and that level of athleticism, you're going to develop an FBS offensive lineman.
Cameron Muller is a 6'4", 305-pound offensive lineman from Columbia, South Carolina.
6'4", again, here we go with the height, 305 pounds, extremely athletic. He had an injury that shortened his season, but played at a high level of football. His team was successful. He's been successful in everything he's done associated with the team and what he's done in the community, Ted. Very impressed with Cameron.
Casey Perkins, 6 feet tall, 215 pounds. He's a running back from Smyrna, Tennessee.
You look at his junior year, Ted, 1,400 yards, 24 touchdowns. This year in only 4 games, 450 yards, 7 touchdowns, cut short through injury. Extremely explosive with the ball in his hands. He can take the ball a long way, and also, Ted, very good in the return game.
Elijah Rivers, 6'5", 290-pound offensive tackle from Chesterfield, Virginia.
Have we mentioned the height, Ted? We've mentioned the height. 6'5", 290 pounds, already enrolled in Old Dominion, came to us from Fork Union. His team had a very good year. They were 9-2, and you see with a lot of these kids, they played on good football teams this year. Very athletic and has the size already coming into Old Dominion.
James Vail, 6'4", 220-pound defensive end from Burtonsville, Maryland.
Really interesting, Ted. One of those players that our coaches find in recruiting. He's only played 1 year of high school football, so with the athleticism, that shows the upside he has. I had the pleasure of watching him play basketball this year. He's running the court, he's athletic, he's rebounding, and when you evaluate those things in recruiting, whether a player is rated in the recruiter service or not, when you have really good recruiters on your staff like we do here, you find players like James who's got nothing but tremendous upside.
Cameron Washington, 6'4", 245-pound defensive tackle from Tallwood High School in Virginia Beach.
We've always been impressed with Cameron, Ted, but what really stood out to me this year as a senior, leading his team into the playoffs and showing tremendous leadership, having a lot of tackles for losses, sacks, but a player that just continually helped his program become a winning program, and you can't speak enough about kids that do that.
Tracy White is a cornerback, 6'2", 280 pounds, out of Hinesville, Georgia.
Now that's 6'2" at corner, Ted. Let's think about that, 6'2". Now we're starting to get some corners that match the height we have at wide receiver. And when you think about Tracy, the height, the fact his team was really good this year. He had a lot of tackles, Ted, for a corner. He had 52 tackles, 9 pass breakups. People weren't throwing the ball at him a lot this year. He's a really exciting player to come in at corner with that size.
Keon White, 6'4", 230-pound tight end from Garner, North Carolina.
One of the most impressive things to me about Keon is he played center on offense his junior year because that's where his coach and his team needed him to play. And then he moves to a natural position for him, tight end, defensive end, and has a big year for his team. But again, Ted, we go back to the height and the fact that this young man did whatever he needed to do for his team. Very impressive.
Stephen Williams, 6'4", 196-pound quarterback from Woodrow Wilson High in Washington, D.C.
Had big numbers, Ted. Was injured during the season, or his numbers would have been a lot bigger. What really jumps out to me about Stephen when I think about him was being at our camp last summer and being a first-in-line guy. I really like quarterbacks that, number one, value the football, but they're leaders, they're first in line, they take control of their team, and that's the impression you see. When you think about Stephen Williams, that's what I think about.
Keyshawn Wilson, 6'2", 230-pound linebacker from Waldorf, Maryland.
Very impressive young man, Ted, what he does on the field and off the field. Number one, you see the size, the speed, the athleticism, all the tackles over the last 2 years. I mean, this kid had 190 tackles, Ted, over the last 2 years. Very impressive player.
Austin Wood is a safety, 6'3", 190 pounds, out of Grassfield High School in Chesapeake.
Safety, 6'3", Ted. Again, we keep talking height. We're getting taller. What'll impress you the most about Austin is the fact that at that size, Ted, the speed on the field, he's on the track team as well. This young man is fast, but an excellent tackler. That's what really jumped out to our staff when we watched him. He's been around a lot. He's been to our camps. Very impressive young man.
DeAndre Woods, a 6'3", 238-pound tight end from Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, DeAndre is finishing up his coursework. He's going to graduate, Ted, from Vanderbilt. He'll transfer to us as a graduate student. So right away, the maturity, the athleticism, we're looking at him as a tight end, H-back. He's got flexibility, position flexibility, special teams flexibility. DeAndre is somebody that is going to bring a lot to our program, not just football, but in a lot of other areas.
And there you have it, the class of 2017 here on National Signing Day. Coach, you mentioned the size is one of the big themes. How has it changed for you, not only having a 10-3 record at the FBS level, but winning that bowl game?
10-3, how much it helped, can't even put a number on that. The bowl game, Ted, how many people saw the bowl game? I felt that when I was out on the road in all these different areas recruiting, just how many people, oh yeah, I saw your bowl game. What an exciting win. You know, I saw you get dumped with Gatorade at the end, the excitement of your players. And to get 10 wins, Ted, when so few teams can get to 10 wins, that's a really hard number to get to. Huge impact on recruiting, but a huge impact within our program.
Now, we want to tell everybody that season tickets are available right now. Go to whynottix.com. A great home schedule for the Monarchs next year. A challenging schedule for the Monarchs next year as well, as we think about the future. Because you aren't really talking about specifically next year. Right. You're talking about a program advancer here. State of the program as you look at it right now.
Ted, we've got the most players we've ever had coming back in the spring, because generally you graduate a lot of players. So your numbers going into spring might be around 75 or 80 traditionally. We have 94 players currently on campus that are going to class. They're working out. The energy in the building is like nothing I've ever seen or experienced. Our players are excited to get back to work. I actually had to try to keep them out of the weight room. We just started back with our lifting program because traditionally Coach Martin, our staff, we want to give them 6 weeks off at the end of the season. Well, as you know, the season didn't end till December 23rd, so we haven't been lifting in January, but they've been coming in on their own. They're excited. They want to get back to work, and that's such a good thing to have, Ted, when the vibe around your program is as strong as it is right now. Guys are excited to get back to work, and they learn, Ted, our theme has been don't forget. Don't forget what we did to win 10 games. How did we do it? All the things that went into winning 10 football games. That's the theme right now. Don't forget what we did, and the players are excited to get going.
Spring game will come up at Foreman Field at SB Ballard Stadium April the 15th. How important is the time between now and then for this team to develop?
It's critical. This 8 weeks, Ted, is when you build your size, your strength. They're focused on their workouts in the weight room. They're doing some conditioning, mostly speed development. These are the 8 weeks that develops, leads up to the month of April, where we're in spring practice, the spring game, but there's going to be tremendous competition for positions. And that's when you get better as a team. When you have 94 players, you're 3 deep at almost every position. A lot of competition, which is really good for our program.
One of the key ingredients to the success for this 2017 recruiting class, the veritable lid collection from the head coach. You got to love it.
I've become a Kangol guy, Ted.
He's a Kangol guy.
As you know, Ted, I'm a little follically challenged upstairs, so this is technically my hair that I'm wearing right now.
Love that hair. Hey, congratulations to you and your staff. I know it's been thousands of miles on the road, thousands of hours put in. The work is done, the hay's in the barn. Let's hope the class of 2016 is as wonderful as we think it'll be.
Oh, Ted, it's been a great experience, and everybody involved. You know how many people there are behind the scenes at Old Dominion that come in on the weekends, or our guys behind the cameras right now, all the work that goes into this, and it's exciting when it culminates. You feel good about it, and you can thank everybody involved. So big thank you from Old Dominion football.
On we go. For the head coach, Bobby Wilder, I'm Ted Alexander. Happy National Signing Day from Monarch Media.